Liftoff? Sure.
Roll the intro. There we go. That's some engineering right there.
There we go. All right.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 13th installment of Bitcade. My name is Ryan E. Moore, as you probably already know, but this person right here, David.
It's my name in Spanish.
Is it?
David,
I like
yeah.
every time oh yeah, maybe David is.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I think of David, I think of like a Middle Eastern, like man.
No, I had a teacher in second grade that would only call me David. She wasn't Spanish or Hispanic or in any way.
Okay.
She
Just always
would-
referred to you as that.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
It was
great.
just, I was this tall little skinny bean, but I was David. Like, all right, well, whatever.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first episode of 2018 officially, like recording-wise. Yeah, recording-wise is the first episode in the year of 2018. It is January 2018 as the current recording time, but it'll probably leak out to March or not that far, February. But this is the first time we also don't have our very special friend Quinn, which is a very sad day, but also a happy day, We're going to try some stuff out a little bit differently. Kind of the same format, just going to slowly tweak some stuff, and then eventually we'll figure out what we're going to kind of do with Bitcade for the time being.
Yeah. Well, we're going to try some new things and just kind of see how the flow changes with it being only two of us.
Yes.
But we're going to try, for I think this episode, we're kind of sticking to the same formula.
Yes.
So
the first topic of today is tabletop games. We don't talk about tabletop games as much as there's a whole library of them always in the behind us.
Yeah, for as many as I have, my girlfriend and I have, and for as how it's always in the backdrop, we've never really talked about it. So we thought, why not? Today is the day.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking of games that I didn't even write down, but I'm really excited to talk about some games. So I guess what this topic, because I guess this is my topic, but was. We're gonna tell you some games that we love playing, and then maybe a little bit of some stories on why we really like those games. Yeah. I guess I'll start, and I'm gonna start with number one, not in any order of greatest to least greatest, but the Exploding Kittens is a game that I've kind of fallen in love with. Of just like I like the Russian roulette style of it, and how it's a little bit easy to learn, and it's also a little bit hard to master, and then. And it's a great like we've taken it to PAX. We took it to PAX this last year, and what was even cooler is that Exploding Kittens had their own booth there. That's if you go back and look at the PAX video, that's the one that gives Ashton some corn, because I just love the humor that is in Exploding Kittens and the Cards Against Humanity kind of humor thing. And I don't know, it's just really it's like cute art style, a little fat kitten. I've not played the Not Safe for Work one. I know a lot of people like prefer that one just because it's whatever.
Just more ridiculous.
But I bought the regular one because of the fact that I want to play it with everyone else kind of thing. And I did get the little exclusive Target like expansion cards that you had to find in this thing, in the shipper thing. But yeah, it's a fun game. Like Jameson and I have played it with our cousin, and then we taught Ashton how to play it, and it's just fun. It's a fun game. You can just pull out in the hotel room, play it. Doesn't last long. Boom, done. It's a great game.
Yeah, it's a good. My girlfriend and I we classify those because we're the big. I think out of our group. In Primal Target, I guess we're the big hobby board gamers, as you have noticed. We've got I know it doesn't look like it, but we've got about I think we have surpassed 90 board games in our collection. I know it doesn't look like it here, but we've got two. I can't pull it out.
Yeah,
we've got two of these like crates that are full of our small board games. I think I can probably pull out one of those. Like we call small board games. We call like these.
Boss Monster.
Small little games like this. Once. And there's like 20 easily in just each one of these. So there's about 40 games just within those two. These two, as Brian can see, these two little crates right here.
They're about like that deep.
Yeah.
Like
they're like the
Walmart
little shelving
Shopko
units that you can
shelving
fit in
things,
these little 3x3x3 cubes, and there's about 20 games in each of those, and so yeah, we call those good on the go games, just good on good camping games, good like we got 15 minutes to kill. There's a lot of little games like that we like to play. One of the ones that we it's not one of the games that I picked, but like another game, if you like the more mature games like the Not Safe for Work Exploding Kittens or Cards Against Humanity. My personal favorite for that style of game is Joking Hazard.
Oh yeah, with Cyanide and Happiness. You actually bought the Cyanide and Happiness thing?
No, we don't actually own that particular one, but we don't own. I know it's going to sound weird, but we don't own any of those games. We don't.
The apples to apples type of style.
No, we don't. We don't own. Well, we do have a game like that called Dixit. It's that same sort of style, but it's a little different.
Yeah.
But we don't own like Exploding Kittens. We don't own Cards Against Humanity because everybody has those, And so when people come over to play with us and they request those games, we're like, out of luck.
Yeah.
We've got all of these other ones to pick from, So. But that's just just us. But yeah, no, those are fun little games. We like to, like I said, Joking Hazard. We like to play Hanabi is one that we like to play. Dungeon Roll is another little game like that. So
yeah, because my knowledge of tabletop games are a little above average, but like.
You know more than just Monopoly.
Yeah. I know more of
the family classics.
Yeah, the family classic games. But yeah, I like those like grab and go kind of games and enjoy. It's not really the game that's fun. It's the people that you're playing it with that makes it fun. That's kind of like how like Cards Against Humanity is, and Apples to Apples is I think Apples to Apples is a terrible game because everyone has like 4 or 5 different ways of playing that game. So it's kind of like Monopoly. It's lost its whole like reasoning of being played now. It's not even being played for the reasons that it needs to be played anymore. Because there's you can talk about, like you can sell your card, and then there's you got to keep it secret and let the other person decide. Like you can't sell your card or blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, I think you should be able to. I'm one of those people that thinks like you should be able to sell your card because like it draws more of a debate of like why. Otherwise, it's just someone that's going this one, and then. But I guess there is more of a secretive thing to that. Yeah. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, no, I can go off about how I despise Monopoly in particular, but I'll save that for another time, I guess. Yeah. But that was your first game?
Yeah, Exploding Kittens.
Yeah. Do you want me to? All right. So I'm gonna jump over to one of mine.
Mm-hmm.
So my first one is gonna be one I'm sure I might have mentioned to you. I'm gonna assume our audience will have no idea what I'm talking about. I've picked games that I like that have a very video game feel to them. Okay. And for the first one that I picked is easily my favorite dungeon crawler. Now, dungeon crawler is a style of game where basically there is a dungeon presented to you. You are the heroes, and you are progressing through it, defeating enemies and bosses and that kind of style. That's usually what a dungeon crawler is. Like Dungeon Quest that you played with us once, that's kind of a dungeon crawler where you're kind of exploring it on your own. It's not a team one, but you're doing it on your own. But the one that I'm going to pick for this particular topic is called Super Dungeon Explorer. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. I'm assuming you can. This is the base. This is the expansion base game. These here are some of the expansions, and then stacked on underneath these, which I don't think you can see, is these tubs. Yes, you can kind of see it.
Yeah.
These are the miniatures. There are about 200 and something miniatures in here for this particular game.
Holy crap.
And this is nothing but dungeon tiles, because that's all that fits in there. And then these are full of the miniatures that we have that we don't have boxes for.
Wow.
It is my favorite dungeon crawler because it is literally, it is your own like World of Warcraft raid in a box.
Wow.
Like you can set up this elaborate dungeon. You can tell a story throughout your dungeon, and you set up the enemies, the bosses. You pick your characters.
Really like this little platypus looking guy right here.
Yeah, the little minions. And the nice thing about it is this game is made to emulate a video game. That's part of the game's
Charm.
Charm is part of its feel. It's part of the aesthetic of the game. Like it is the your enemies aren't called the enemies. They're called the minions. They're called minions, but the way you control, because there's the player's turn and then there's the enemy's turn. Well, they're not called the enemy's turn. It's called the console's turn, and it's referring to the game console you're playing.
Yeah, that's kinda cool. Yeah.
And let's see if I can pull out like a shit. I wish I could.
What we could do is you can talk about the rest of this.
Yeah.
And then when I'm talking about my next one,
Yeah.
you can try to dig that out. Yeah.
Because like I wish I could show you because it would just explain it so much more. But the game is pulls a lot from video game tropes into it, and especially there's tons of Easter eggs to characters from anime, video games.
But they're tongue in cheek. They're not like exactly
No,
those characters.
no,
They're
no. Like
obviously they are, but they're not those.
yeah, like one of the bosses that you can get that's a add-on boss that you can buy by itself is an evil Totoro. So one of the bosses is an evil Totoro. It looks like Totoro, but he's got a big old horn. He's got a big old mouth with teeth, and it's your job to
very
beat
Persona looking Totoro kind of thing.
Yeah, and then there's another hero that is basically an Easter egg to Ezra Scarlet from Fairy Tail. There's one that's Princess Mononoke.
Huh.
And then we've also backed the Kickstarter for this, which really, because this isn't the base game. This is an expansion that can be played as the base game. We don't own the base game because it's hard to get your hands on it, but they did a Kickstarter where they're doing the second edition of the release game, and a lot of like the stretch goals that you get are more like miniatures, and there's one called Hey Listen, which is an Easter egg, which is a little miniature you can get that's, obviously Navi from from the Legend of Zelda series. And so there's a lot of the little video game tie-ins to it, and especially in the way it plays just like a turn-based strategy video game. You have your group of heroes, it's your turn, and then if you've ever played like a Fire Emblem game, that's it. It's a physical.
It's just that.
It's a physical version of the Fire Emblem mechanics, but you build like your own like WoW dungeon, and the tiles are like this big. Like you can build a dungeon if you want that can take up this whole table. It'll take you all day to play, but like you can go as big as you want. You can go as small as you want. You can go as big as you want, and it's great. It's got all of these fantastic characters and heroes you can play from, or you can play there's any type of like. Trope archetype video game character, it's in there. If you want to be like your big beefy tank that can just absorb all the damage, he's in there. If you want to be your sneaky little assassin, if you want to play like like your Ezio from Assassin's Creed, they're in there. You want to be a ninja, it's in there.
That's crazy.
If you want to be like shoot bows and pretend you're Legolas, it's in there.
Yeah, there's that's cool that it kind of reminds me of Boss Monster, of how they can capture this video game-esque style that you didn't even know that could ever be adapted to a game, a board game, but it's like they made it work.
No,
like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a couple mechanics in it that we forget about, because after you clear tiles, the enemies are supposed to get harder. But sometimes we forget to implement that just because it's on this little card that's easy to forget about. But like you kill enemies, you get loot. It's Diablo style, where every time you kill an enemy, you pull from the loot card. Up to 3, you can get up to 3 loots per turn. And it's all set, gear, sword, shield, and it's all set to where you can equip your characters from head to toe, and you level. And in the new system, they're adding this way so you can level up your characters now. That's coming out with the Kickstarter, which I'm excited for, because you can basically play this game almost as if you're playing like a D&D campaign.
That's pretty cool. Like,
and I'm excited for it.
I like to hear like the Kickstarter games get some hype, because it's just. It's a hard platform, and let alone probably trying to make those games is really hard, especially miniature games.
This expansion was kickstarted.
Yeah.
And then these are actually tie-ins to other games that they make. These are characters from a different game that they made a Super Dungeon version of that you can play in Super Dungeon. And then this is a PvP mode that they added in, so you can play PvP now in Super Dungeon. It comes with its own board, its own mechanics, its own loot. That's what this particular expansion was.
Cool.
But yeah, I love, like, right here. Even this expansion right here came with that's.
I like that little turtle guy.
Yeah, guess who that's supposed to be?
I'm assuming. Oh God. I want to say Peach.
It's Peach.
Okay, all right.
Her name, I don't remember her name exactly, but it's like Princess something.
Like Pear.
Yeah, something like that. And then another mini that came in this one is literally Link from Zelda.
Funny.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure. So here's the thing for those people that are watching at home. Clearly, David has a passion for a lot of these games.
I love board games.
If it does seem like I cut him off on some of these,
just because I'm rambling,
I'm gonna have to, just because I know how passionate you are about these. When I name them off, I'm sorry.
No, sorry.
When I name my games off, mine just have like a quick little snippet story of why I like it and of the experiences. You just know all the little mechanics of the games, and that's why you like this game.
Yeah. I just want to say one more thing about this particular game.
Yeah.
It is I'm gonna admit this. It's a money pit. Okay?
It seems like it if there's that many miniatures in it.
This base expansion is $100 just for this by itself.
Yeah.
These are ranged between 50 and 60. Single characters are $15, and then the expansions that have that add new bosses and more miniatures to it range between 30 and 40 for like the boxes that are like this big. So if you do, that's my one thing to be cautious of, is because this game is fantastic. For $100, you're getting a lot. For $100 right here, you're getting a fantastic game, but it's so good that it's going to hook you. So just be ready
to dump more money into it.
Yeah, because even though this isn't the most expensive base game that we've bought, we have put the most money into it, especially considering the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So, but it's probably the game that my girlfriend and I play the most. It does take a few hours to play. It takes about an hour to set up. It takes a few hours to play. But like I said, if you got the time and you love turn-based RPGs, especially like the Fire Emblem series, and you want to play something physical, that's it, 100%.
Yeah. So mine are not as elaborate as those,
that's okay.
but
that's okay.
But my next one is, and I'll segue into another game that I actually like a lot more than this one. But it's just funny because I saw this game at Target for it's like $15, and it's the Minecraft tabletop game. Now bear with me here. Hold on, don't turn off your TVs yet. It is not that bad. It is a deck builder game, and I was like, this is ingenious. This is how you teach kids how to play deck builder. It is so simple. It's building an axe, and an axe can attack players and like earn you more points, or pickaxes let you draw 2 more cards. Like each thing you build has a certain perk to what you're building.
Nice.
And so there's shovel, a pickaxe, a hoe, and a sword. And then there's all variants of them. There's the diamond versions.
Right, the different materials.
Yeah, and then you can use those materials and then to do different stuff. And then also with the creeper is in the game, and when that happens, that means the whole board gets cleared. Or no, you attack somebody. The creeper attacks you, and you have to defend it. So you have to have a card. Whether it's a sword, you can defend it and deflect it off. If it's a TNT, it blows off all of the cards that are on top, and then you have to flop them all off, which is really cool. There's just like these little things that make the game of Minecraft into a card game, and I never thought it would actually happen that way.
That's pretty cool.
But I love deck builder games. Those are the first deck builder game I played was the Penny Arcade Gamers vs. Evil. It's still probably my favorite deck builder game. It's just because of the Penny Arcade guys were a part of it. But and all the little jokes they have, like, there's the scrotum card, where and then there's the FF Prime was the PAX exclusive card, and I and the Kickstarter card, which I have that. I don't have the game though. I have the because I competed at PAX to play that game, but it's yeah, the Penny Arcade game got me into deck builders. I'm like, this is awesome. Like, it's this strategy of, okay, what do I need to do? And then I could have like a totally different strategy in trying to play and than you. Like, I could be trying to get all the paper tubes to attack a whole bunch of times, and you could be trying to get all the stars, but you'd have a weak defense. But I would have less stars, and I'd be trying to attack a lot. But so it's those kind of things that make it fun. And then obviously from that, I actually did buy a deck builder game, and it's going to be the one that everyone knows if you love deck builders or love tabletop games is Dominion. Dominion is so great. It is where the grandfather of all like deck builders have started. Like you see when you play all these other deck builders and then you go back to Dominion, you're like, okay, so this is just like in Dominion. Like you'll play all the other deck builders and go, oh, just like in Dominion. And there's like all these different things. And Dominion has so many expansions. Like there's
been around for a
while.
while.
I mean, it is. Yeah, I mean, I think it is the first deck builder, right? Like everyone considers it.
I don't
first
think
deck?
so. I think
No?
it's considered just to be one of the best.
Okay, all
Just
right.
one of the best.
If not, it's one of the earliest. Yeah. But yeah, it's great, and it has all these different expansions and that get more convoluted and things like that. But yeah, I think like my favorite type of games are the deck builder games, and something like the Minecraft one, which is another one of those grab and go games. It's literally a box that's just like that. It's just like this big, and throw it in a backpack, take it off the packs, and it's great. So and I played that with Jameson and my cousin, and it was fun. And she didn't even know what she knows what Minecraft is, obviously, but she didn't know a lot about that stuff. So.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I'd never really, I guess, like batted an eye at the Minecraft game because normally when
when you see Minecraft,
I know I'm a board game snob, and I see a lot of the games at work. And I call them, gimmick games. They're usually just like rushed to get on some sort of a trend, like "What do you meme?" or like like the cats
Game of Phones.
Yeah, or have you seen that flip bottle game?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know
like
what Game of Phones might be something different than just a meme thing, but yeah, I know what the.
But no, I call that's what I call those. So like I see those sitting there, and I'm just like.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. I took a chance on the only reason why I bought the Minecraft one was because it was only $15, or maybe it was even cheaper than that, and the fact that we were going to PAX. Yeah. So I wanted to get a game that I could just shove in a backpack, and like if we were in line, pull that thing out, and boom, there we go. A little bit more. It's a little bit longer than like Exploding Kittens could get. Just because there's
deck builders can be drawn out. It all depends on what people are doing on their turn.
But I will say it's not. So it is a deck builder in the broad term of it,
like a deck builder light.
Yeah, but it definitely teaches you the basics of like how deck builders work and the resource management of when. Okay, I need this stuff to make this thing so I can do an action. Or I need this thing to defend myself. I haven't played it in a while, but yeah, it's a very strategic kind of game too. So it's interesting. It's like a combination of a lot of different things, but it definitely does bring a little Minecraft-y type thing to a tabletop, which is crazy. So
might I make a suggestion for you?
Go ahead.
If you do like deck builders, I think you should check out either Star Realms or Hero Realms. They're basically they're deck builders, but they're basically the same game, just different settings. Star Realms takes place.
That's the little box ones, right? Yeah, I've seen them at the shop.
Yeah, Star Realms, takes place in space. Hero Realms is more fantasy, like high fantasy. I think actually
there's like little. There's actually
it's actually right here.
Oh, there's actually I've seen expansions of the expansion cards. These things. Yeah. Oh, ooh, fancy!
No,
you got the little cards going on them.
So this is all credit to my girlfriend. My girlfriend she organizing is like one of her favorite things to do. So she's like, this is not what the game came in.
No.
Okay, I'm just showing this to you. So she did this herself, and then she organizes it like this. You see these little tabs? We've got base game. The Ruin, this is an expansion, and then you've got the different heroes, like because when you pick a hero and your hero has certain abilities, and that goes into your base deck, and then these are like cards that you pull from. But yeah, no, this is all credit to her. She's the one that does this like organization. But this, if you like like games like Dominion, you want to try something different.
Okay.
Try a Hero Realms or Star Realms. It all depends. Do you want sci-fi or do you want like high fantasy?
Yeah.
We
was
hear
suggested that game too, and
Yeah.
I might go the sci-fi one.
Yeah, I
just
was gonna say
'cause-
we like high fantasy more
Yeah,
or
yeah.
sci-fi in our home, but I know a lot of people who the Star Realms is the first. This one came out after.
Mhm. Yeah, I know. Like they have the expansions for them are character packs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like the way you saw there was like the thief and,
Yeah,
and all
and
that.
they're
in there.
actually in little like
Mhm.
upper deck kind
Mhm.
of rip apart, open them up.
Yeah,
type
they're
of
not
things.
like blind bags or anything like that.
Yeah.
They're all the same set of cards, which is nice. You know what you're getting. But
Yeah. So I guess deck builders were my second one. Go
yeah.
ahead.
My second one is a game that again you've probably not heard. Ryan, I'm sure hasn't heard of. Most of you probably haven't heard of. It's a few years old. I'd say it's maybe about 6 or so years old. It's a French game.
Oh, oui, oui.
Well, it's a Euro game.
French Canadian.
No. It's a Euro game. Like there's this huge like debate in the gaming community, Euro games versus like North American games, because there's a different style. European games,
So kind of like the Japanese RPG versus the Western RPG.
right? Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. There's that kind of same debate, and when it comes to North American games and European games tend to have more mechanics. They tend to be more difficult. North American games tend to be more, I don't want to say user friendly, but they have a more like broader appeal, and that's just very, I don't want to spark any debates like in the comments or anything, but that's just a very base summary of the differences.
Mm-hmm.
But my second one is a Euro game, and it's called Claustrophobia. And if you like games like, now it's not like a loot game, but if you like game like style, like art style visually, games like Diablo or like darker fantasy, this is
Dark Souls kind of
yeah,
type
yep.
of thing.
This is the one for you. It is 2-player, and you're playing
No more, no less.
no 2-player only.
Wow. Okay.
You can't play by yourself. You can't play with more than 2. There are ways, if you have a particular expansion, you can tweak the rules to play with 3 people. But it is strictly meant to be a 2-player game. It's you versus them, and the whole lore and concept of this game is it takes place in the future in the town of New Jerusalem. Okay.
So we're in the Middle East.
We're in the Middle East in the future. It's like post-apocalyptic, and the way that the game works is one person is playing a priest. Okay, he's
Okay.
playing a priest with condemned criminals. Okay, and the other person is playing the hordes of evil of the underworld. Okay.
Wow, this
Yeah.
is quite a plot.
And so there is a story that there's a story mode you can go through, or you can go through and play the chapters as like individual like little scenarios that you can do. But the main objective is the priest is leading these condemned criminals. They're the only people that he's given to help fight against the hordes of evil underneath New Jerusalem, because you're in like tunnels and things like that.
Wow. So like catacombs type of.
Yeah, it's like
fighting.
catacombs. The world is tile based, so it has that sort of dungeon crawler mechanic. But instead of like Super Dungeon where you lay it all out, it is randomly generated. Where when you go to the next tile, you pull from the top, and whatever it is whatever it is. So like I played it once with Rebecca, and she did not have a good time because the tile draws were all in my favor. I was playing as the demons.
Yeah.
All in my favor, not good for her,
Yeah.
and she did not have a good time. But it's very it has these one thing that I like about it is it has these elements of I say controlled random factors, because it does involve rolling dice. But the thing is like your character's stats, there's 6 different stats that your character can have. Okay, there's more offensive, defensive, like number wise, and how fast you can move and things like that. And the dice control which of those stats you get access to. So like if I'm on the priest side, I've got my priest and I've got like 2 convicts with me. and I can roll I think like 3 or 4 dice, and then let's say I have the priest and like I really like his stats that are set for number 2. Well, if I roll the number 2, I can put that 2 on his plate on his character sheet, and then he has those stats. And then the same thing with the convicts. If I like this convicts, like if I've got a big like tank convict and I really need him to be tanky on this turn because the monsters are going to throw this big old high damage enemy at me on this round, like I can see it coming up, I'll have him go like full tank stats, and for like if I have like the thief character, I'll have him go like full damage if I roll those particular dice. So like you do have to roll dice, and they do control your stats, but you get to choose like where they go because they got like the 6 slots for it.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a magic scenario where you go, if someone's attacking you, you're like, okay, these guys, you're attacking these guys.
But it all depends on the position, because like you can only have a certain amount of minis on a tile. And if it exceeds, if the number of minis on a tile has met that limit, then like say I have like my priest and my tank guy on there, and then he's got like a couple minions, I can't move my thief over to help aid.
So you have to plan out. Your
Yes, like I said, it there's a lot of strategy involved, but it's not like overly complicated. It's not something where like you're just going to be like dreading over what do I do next. But
unless someone's drawing tiles that are.
Yeah, unless you're drawing like, well, like, because there are tiles that like bottleneck, and on the bottleneck tiles you can only have 1 mini pass through it at a time. And so like I was able to just like stack my horde on the other end of that and just be like, all right, come at me one at a time.
Yeah, just obliterate it.
Yeah. And so but yeah, it really is, if you're wanting like a nice two-player game where it's you versus them, with a lot of just the aesthetics to it. The minis look good. They come painted.
Oh.
A lot of minis in games, if you don't know, come unpainted.
Yeah, they're like a little gray or purple or
Yeah, and I will say the paint jobs aren't on as par as, say, if I were to paint it myself. But again, that's another like 6 hours I don't have to spend painting a mini.
Yeah, I mean the game sounds great. Like it has these elements to it that make it so unique.
Yeah,
so.
and then I didn't really, and then on the boss side, on the minion side, you get each stage has like a boss, and they have special moves and abilities. But as the demon, or whoever you're playing, when you roll your dice affect what your minis can do and what minis you can spawn. And how many of those minis you can spawn. Like you have like they're called troglodytes. They're basically like the little throwaway guys. Like you can spawn like a bunch of those in one turn and just throw them at them.
So essentially, you're the main protagonist in the game, and the priest is the antagonist of the whole entire. Or no, sorry, he's the protagonist.
Yes.
You're the antagonist of the whole game.
Yep.
So like you're the last boss is essentially, or you're controlling all your minions, making sure everything's going, and then the other person's. Oh,
and then there's expansions that add more. I've got one of the expansions. There's an expansion that adds more hero players and another type of minion, and then there's one that adds a third. A third like faction, and that's the one. I don't have that one, but that's one if you can tweak the rules to play it with 3 people. But like I said, I don't have that particular one. You're playing as like this big like lizard dude with like
Killer Croc looking style.
Yeah, like Killer Croc looking, but you got like blades on your arms, and
cool.
and they come with their own scenarios, and it really is a lot of fun. Like one of my favorite scenarios is it will take up like this whole table of tiles, and one is like the good guys are split up, and I'm on this end, but they have to go through and like they both have to turn on these like flip these switches to open this door so they can get back together and come see me while I'm trying to stop them in the process. Yeah, it really is a lot of fun. The one negative that I have with it is when you are playing the scenarios where you're flipping tiles, you can get screwed. One person can get screwed either on the menu
if it wasn't shuffled correctly.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's not some. I wouldn't say that. It's all that random factor of the tiles that pop up. It can screw the priest and his side, or it can screw the demons. It goes both ways. So that's the only negative. Sometimes that will happen every now and then. But Claustrophobia is one of my favorites.
Sounds good. Yeah, my third one. Another. Oh, there it is.
That's it right there.
Another one that I really like was kind of something. So there's this game, and I cannot remember with the life of me what it was called. But when I went to the shop and I asked someone about it, they were like, "Oh yeah, we don't have that game, but we have something sort of like it." So there's this old game where you are these police officers in in London trying to stop this guy Professor X. And so you the detectives in London are trying to find these Mr. X, and he reveals himself every so often and blah blah blah. It might sound familiar. I have no idea what the original game is called. But there's another game called Letters from Whitechapel, and it takes place with the scenario of Jack the Ripper as the main bad guy in this whole scenario. It does get really, really dark, but there's there is a PG version that you can play, which is just the base scenario game of find him. Here's what Jack is doing the whole time, and that's what you're trying to do. But there is a darker version that is in the game because I have the second edition. I don't know what happened with the first edition, but I have the second print of it, and it's like there's actual letters, and you read them as you continue on, which makes it a little bit more morbid and dark and sinister. But in the traditional way of how I play it with my family, that at a family dinner or a family outing or whatever, it's just find Jack. Here's what play by the other rules, but I don't go too far into it. So I may censor it a little bit, maybe. Or I'm just, I don't know, with the based rules.
You're making it more family
friendly. Yeah. The rules do say, like, you can play this way, but then there's this other way. But anyway, but it's kind of cool. So, essentially, you have 4 people. Yeah, I think it's 4 people.
4.
And then you have someone playing as Jack. And so what Jack is doing is he has a thing like this. It comes in this little, like, border wall, like how you did when you were taking tests in school. It's like this little thing. And then you write down a location where you want your home base to be, and then in the beginning, this is all in the beginning game. Jack writes his home base and blah blah blah. Then the police officers get to write where they're gonna all spawn at, or they get these little tokens and they flip them up, and it's just all black. But on the other side, there's little dots that show where they're actually gonna be, and there's 2 decoys that the police officers get to put so that Jack doesn't know where he's gonna spawn. So as soon as all the police officers get to put all their stuff out, then Jack gets to pick all of which women he wants to take. There are spawn locations for the women. I know this sounds really weird. And then you put these. Jack has these white tokens on the bottom. Have a red dot if he wants to kill them. If not, then it's just white. So he puts them all out there. So he has decoys as well as the one that he's going to kill through the whole thing. So the police officers have to decide where he's going to murder. Now, where Jack is going to kill, that's where he's going to spawn. That's where he starts. And then his goal, like let's say he's on the top of the map at number, I don't even know what number's up there. But for example, like number 14. And his home is number 25 and it's down at the bottom. He has to maneuver through that whole entire thing. But the problem is he doesn't know where the police officers are yet. So Jack's location's always secret, but the police officers, as soon as the kill is revealed, they reveal themselves on where they're located. So if somebody put their police token right next to the women that just got killed, they have a really good chance of finding Jack right away. But, and also the chance, they could also be distracted. And what I love about that game is sometimes you have a really good Jack, you can. How I like to do it is I like to pit people together. I like to, well, I don't know. And then they start arguing. Yeah. The best part about being Jack is to have the cops start arguing with each other because you're on the other side going, I am nowhere near there. Yeah. And then I won this one time that was with my family. It was so close. I was right here, and then there was another person right here with like 2 spaces in front of me. But then there's an alleyway that they went 1, and they had a 3. And so they could have got me, but they went 1, 2, 3, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Because if the police officer runs into Jack, you have to say like that you did and you got caught and blah blah blah, or you have to specify, like the police officer has to say, is Jack on number 14, but you have to be on number 14 to say that.
Yeah.
You can't just go, is Jack on number 25 and you're all the way over at 10.
Yeah.
Like, you have to make sure, you're calling out the ones that you're on.
Right. Just to help clarify, the board is basically a map of London.
Yeah,
with
downtown,
all of these,
like,
old, with all these markers on
Western
it, with
London,
locations on it. That's what he's talking about.
Yeah,
right
yeah,
there.
yeah. So, like, the whole map is set with all these numbers and lines. It's kind of looks like Ticket to Ride's map, but it has a little bit. Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Where and Jack has these places that he can move, and the police have positions that they can move, but. Jack also has these little tokens that he can like sneak through
the alleyways.
Yeah, slip through the alleys or carriages.
You can,
I've screwed some people over on carriages, and
Yeah.
they don't like it because sometimes I like to throw people off too. I'll just do like an alleyway token, and I'm nowhere near him, but it makes them think like, oh, he's right here, he's got to be over here, but I'm like way over here. But yeah, Letters from Whitechapel is a good game. I think I may modify it a little bit, but if you can find the other game, it's a little bit more family friendly. Obviously, you're looking for Mr. X and your police officers, and it's just looking like that old version of that game, or I don't know if it's the same company, but the old style game that is like way old, and it's a lot easier like to understand. Same concept though. I don't know if any other games are like that, but I love that style of game too.
No, I have this one right here.
Which one is that?
Fury of Dracula.
Oh,
It's the same style of game, except instead of playing as Jack the Ripper, you're playing as Dracula.
you can hold it like.
Oh, right here.
Boom.
But as you can see, you're tracking Dracula, or who would be Jack the Ripper, all throughout Europe.
I would play that game.
This, I think, if you like Letters of Whitechapel, I think you'd like this one.
Okay, cool.
Basically, yeah, everybody else is basically like some sort of vampire hunter, and it's the same sort of concept. It's just different theme.
Yeah.
So
I hate to kind of pull this one, but you're gonna have to make this one like a 10-minute one. So.
That's fine, because my last one I have yet to play.
Okay.
I own it, and I'm really excited to play it, but I haven't played it, and it's called Codex, and it's this one right there. Okay. I've got stuff on it, so I'm not going to try and take it off, but it's this game right here. And the reason why I am excited about it.
Hard time strategy.
Yes, it is a real-time strategy game. Think like original Warcraft, StarCraft, but in a card game form. And that's all I really know about it. These are the two factions. There are expansions that you can get.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited to play it. Like I said, I haven't played it yet, so I don't really know too much about the mechanics. But I'm told if you want like a real-time strategy game, like again, old Warcraft, StarCraft, if you want like the old Command and Conquerors in a card game, that's it.
Sweet.
Like I said, you need to keep that one short.
There we go. All right.
I'm excited to play it. And again, like I said, I picked games that I feel a video game audience, if they wanted to step over and try. If you like real-time strategy games, from what I've heard, again, no personal experience, that's the one to get.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you leave in the comment section below what your favorite tabletop games are. And that's where we're going to end it for the first topic. So now we're going into topic number 2. Welcome back.
My cat just snored like right as you did that. I don't know if you heard. Oh, bless you, big guy.
All right. Topic number 2.
He's asleep down here.
You.
Yeah. So I was thinking about last time I really have had had a game experience that just like blew me away. Either from like a mechanics, story, just any sort of anything that just kind of blew my mind. And yeah, I can't think of any other way to describe it. What is a game that I can go back to that just like floored me with I did not know a game could do this. I've not experienced something like this in a game. Did you want to start, or do you want me to? I thought we were gonna go because you've got two ish. I've got one. Mine's gonna probably be meatier of them.
Yeah,
So why don't you go?
Mine will be
one
short. Yeah. Okay. So I'll go with one that is very very recent. Call of Duty World War II did something I have never seen in a video game ever.
Yeah.
And I applaud Sledgehammer for putting this in this game because I think it is something that for some reason why has it never been in a video game that's about World War II? And we're going to do this. This whole topic is a spoiler topic. So make sure if you don't want anything to like be spoiled for you, you can skip the parts that I don't know how I'm going to do this. But like this is spoiler territory. If we mention a game, we're going to spoil it. And some games might even be a game that we might play in the future. So just so you know. But we did play Call of Duty on the channel, so there it is.
Yep.
Okay. So, Call of Duty World War II. And you haven't played this, so
No,
it's a little bit
but
of a spoiler for you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I have no intentions of playing it
But
anyway. So
yeah, I mean,
okay.
it's a moment that doesn't really have something to do with the plot, but it does sort of. So Call of Duty World War II in their campaign really revolved around this band of brothers type of mentality. You played as one character, and you kind of went through periodically phasing in and phasing out. The only other time you didn't play as that guy is you played as a woman, which was weird how you switched to the woman for this one part, and then the rest of it you just played as this guy. But anyway, he befriends a guy that is captured and becomes a prisoner of war, a POW, by the Nazis. And some other stuff happens, blah, 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 da, 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 da. So you go after it to try and go save him because you're not going home until you make sure that he is okay. And you walk up, and the level is literally just you walking through a concentration camp.
Oh.
And it is so eerie, and the setup to it is probably as good as it probably could get.
Is it pre-liberated or post-liberated?
The war is almost over. Like the Nazis have now
so it's like
surrendered.
It's like an empty.
And for those that don't know, if during that time when the Nazis had now surrendered, when Hitler had killed himself and blah blah, all that jazz, the Nazis were just gonna eradicate the whole entire camp. Like they were just done. Get rid of all the evidence.
I know.
Throw it all.
I know, like some of them, they just up and left.
Yeah, they just left the Jews. They left the prisoners of war, and they just left them there and let them do whatever they needed to do, and essentially just abandoned them to die.
Right.
Some of them took them and just shot them all out, and horrible things that happened over there. But it adds this thing that I really like Band of Brothers of doing, where we didn't know they were doing this. And the shock of not understanding that the soldiers are done so well that you're like, because you're I can't remember if this is before you walk up to the camp or after, but you're running through the forest because you hear some stuff, someone calls your name, and so you run through the forest to go into this thing, and you see it, and I think that's how it starts. But I do remember you had to go through a forest again. But you see it, and you have to walk through, and you're trying to find your friend to make sure he's not gone. And you walk through the barracks, you see the bodies, you see rubble and ash and things like that, and it's a very hard thing to look at. But I think that Sledgehammer did a really good job bringing something that I've never seen in a World War II game that I think was it's very important that we don't forget mistakes that horrible human beings have done in their lives. And I don't know. I really did. It's something that blew my mind because it just took me back for a second. Because I've gone to Germany. I've been to Poland, and in Poland we actually did go to a concentration camp to sort of feel that, I don't know, that heaviness and to understand it more and to learn the history of how the Polish had to deal with that, and how the Jews had to deal with that, and how prisoners of war had to deal with that. And when I was there, there's something that you can't take. You take away from so much of that, and you're kind of walking away, and you're like, you can't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't understand it. And what's worse is the camp was only a mile away from a main road.
Mm-hmm.
So this is all happening behind trees, and then behind that is just there. And so
Mm-hmm.
I just don't. I don't know. It was something that I think that definitely was done correctly,
Mm-hmm.
and I really do like Sledgehammer for doing that, just to bring in this is history, and we shouldn't cover it up. Like I'm not trying to bring in politics, but like
right.
the German like government does not like talking about the Nazi situation. As far as we know, Germany didn't exist during 1939 to 1945. So it's like, as far as we know, that's their history doesn't exist. And that's why Wolfenstein is censored over there. They do not have a Nazi symbol on them. They have this like triangle devil horn looking thing. And that's why if you got the Ultimate Edition of Wolfenstein: The New Colossus, there's a patch that she's wearing that has that symbol on it. Of course, I wouldn't want a Nazi patch on my tin, but there's but that's why it looks like that, so that it globally could be sent out and not have two different versions of it. So.
I gotcha.
But yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely. But yeah, that's what it kind of that blew me away. Just wow, interesting.
Not gonna lie, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, you didn't think that they would ever do that?
No, I just wasn't expecting that to be your.
Yeah, I mean, you told me in the beginning of like something that just blew your mind. Not really, didn't have to be good, didn't have to be bad. And that's why I asked you. I was like, did it have to be good? And you're like, no. And I'm like, over the last year, that's why I like Call of Duty so much. It's like they took chances. They took that Call of Duty has never done, that first-person shooters have never done, and that was one of those that really stood out last year. And I was like, that's why I nominated it for Game of the Year. I was like, it was so good.
Okay. Well, hopefully mine's a little lighter.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can go any lower than that.
I actually have some of my old stuff just to show. But for me personally, the game that blew me away, and I just haven't been able to go back since, is EverQuest. In particular, in particular, EverQuest Online Adventures, which was the PlayStation 2 version of EverQuest. I actually have right here, I got my copy of the game right there. This is the pre-expansion one. I have the expansion as well, but this is the original, made by SOE, which I don't think is around anymore.
Sony Online Entertainment? Yeah, I think they are gone.
No, I think
they're gone.
Yeah, I think they're gone. But they are the ones that made even the original EverQuest. Yeah. And then I've got my guidebook here with the expansion for EverQuest Online Adventures Frontiers, which I don't know if you can see on the camera. This is worn to pieces. The pages are like this disgusting yellow. I've spilled so much like soda, and I've got like notes written everywhere. I've taken this book basically to hell and back. It's got all of the items, like the last like half of it is just nothing but gear and their stats.
Thousands of players, hundreds of choices, thousands of players, hundreds of challenges, one game.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
These are all your cards.
Yep.
You kept all of them?
Yep. I'll show you here in just a second. So Ryan just found my stash of time cards because back then when I had this game, I was still in high school. I didn't have a credit card to put on the account or a debit card. So I had to go every month to GameStop. Yeah, that's the world. Here. I had to go to GameStop and buy one of these little cards right here. Each one of these cards for 1 month of play was $15 and just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's not
6,
bad for
7, 8, 9,
for a
10,
month
11.
or 3 months.
There's 12.
That's $5 a month. That's not bad.
No, it was $15 a month.
Oh, I thought you said $15
no.
every 3 months.
30 days.
Oh, yikes!
And I have more of these somewhere, But I have no idea how I afforded to play this game.
Let me see this.
I have no idea how I afforded to play this game back in high school. I didn't have a job. I think there's like 12 or so there. I have like about 3 years worth of them.
Okay, so
I know I have more than
times
that.
3 and then times 15.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Yeah.
$540 you spent on this game just in time cards.
And I love this game. I mean this is the same. This is how much WoW is a month, $15 a month.
I know that always kills me though. That's why I don't play it. I'm like, dang, $15. Like,
but
Xbox Live is like essentially $5 a month, right? If you buy a year or something.
Yeah, but this game, I can still remember making my first character, doing like your first set of quests inside your town, and I was a dark elf, so I was in Narek, and Narek is underground. So, like I didn't get to see like the world until I was like level 6 or so, and that was a few hours of gameplay. And the second I remember walking out of the cave, and it's just world, and I just am literally like, what is this?
Where did the games? I started in the wrong area.
I'm like, what? Like in my mind, like I can't think of any game that really has literally blown my mind to that sort of scale, because like when I had friends who were telling me, oh yeah, should you come play? Because when this came out, this was back when the PlayStation 2 just got the network adapter.
I did notice that it does say AOL dial-up compatible.
Yeah,
so
no, I didn't. Yeah, no. We didn't have broadband at the time, so we did. I think we still were using AOL at the time.
Broadband and dial-up. Not very many games had the both. Not very many games had both.
No. That was why I couldn't play SOCOM online, because we didn't have broadband. You had to have broadband to play SOCOM online. We got it eventually, but I used to play like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. A lot of my friends on there were like, "Hey, you should come play this with us." And I remember getting a free week trial disc in the mail from Sony, and being like, "Hey, try this out." And so I did, and I immediately went out when that trial ended and bought the game, and it's the first time where I literally have been like, I can run from this coast to this coast and not see a single loading screen, and I will be running for like 4 hours.
That's crazy. It's insane how, like, first off, this box art is
I love EverQuest box art. It's so retro.
It's very
retro high fantasy.
What do they call it? Like you'd see this on like a bus, or like not a bus, like on a van, like this. Yeah, like a very what do they call, heavy metal like look to it.
Yeah, it's very like classic RPG style. And same thing like this book. I don't think you can really see like how worn out this book is on the camera, but like I've got notes everywhere. I've been through. I mean, the spine is just destroyed because I've been on like just every page. This lists all the quests from like 1 to 50 up to your weapon. Your like I wouldn't say it wasn't called relic weapon, but it was like you would at level 649 you would get like these super awesome weapons. But
it does say not valid for purchase if open, not for resale by prior owner. Which is interesting because like I've never seen this game ever. Yeah. Like, and I think the only reason why is because people were kind of stuck with it. They can't, and I think maybe GameStop was no, we can't take it back.
Yeah,
sorry.
That's because once you use this activation key, it's set.
Yeah.
But I remember when I was because once you get to about level 15 or so is when they send you out of the town to in Narek, they send you to Freeport, which is like the big like central hub on the east coast of the continent, right? I'll actually show you on the map because you can see. I don't know if you can really see on here, but I started here in Narek.
Okay.
I'm just showing Ryan here so you can get an idea. To run from here to there was about 45 minutes.
Holy crap.
To run, I don't know if you can see again.
You can show by like distance of your finger.
Yeah. To run from here, from here on Narek, that's where I started, to here, which is Freeport, which where my bottom finger is, it was about 40 minutes to a half an hour. I remember, again, I'm just going to kind of show here. I went on a journey when I hit level 15.
A journey.
No, I'm not joking. I went on a journey just to see what I could find. And when I was around level 15, I ran from Narek here. I ran all the way up past Facefire because I wanted to get the Hallis because I wanted to see the Barbarian and starting zone, not knowing that Narek's were Dark Elves were evil and Barbarians were good. So like if I went to the town, it would have been killed.
Everyone
anyways.
would annihilate you.
I didn't know that. But I wanted to go see, but there's this mountain range that cuts through the middle. So I went up all the way up to Facefire. This was like 3 hours of running to here, and I hit a mountain range that I couldn't go over. So I was like, shit. So I ran.
Oh my God! Why?
The mountain range all the way down. I remember seeing Broken Skull. Which is this mountain
island.
with this island with a big like skull on the top.
Yeah.
Went all the way down there. Went to Grob, which is an evil town where the troll started. Got that little flight path there, and then I finally met the end of the mountain range. Turned around, and then went all the way back up, and I died around somewhere in here, and then put me back in Narek.
Oh.
That was like 9 hours of running around.
Yikes.
And that experience is, as ridiculous as it sounds, is probably my most cherished like MMO experience of all time because the sites that I saw, like up in here, there's this big statue of this barbarian, like it's like 100 feet tall. He's got this big like glowing shield, and he's like swinging a hammer, and it was like the coolest thing. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. And then you go down, and I came across.
It's weird how they just didn't continue this. Like, how are they not making enough money off of this thing?
Oh, this is the PlayStation 2 version. The PC version is still active and going. The one from 1996 or 97.
Do we need to go and like maybe try this?
I do have an original EverQuest account. I don't remember the passwords for it.
I'm sure you can recover.
I'm sure I can too. It is.
I mean, I would not be against it to give it a shot to record maybe a couple episodes.
Well, the thing is it is a traditional MMO.
Oh, so it's
and
dirty.
This is a pre-WoW MMO.
Dirty.
It's very, very different. Unless they've changed the original PC version throughout the years, because they still release DLC for it.
Yeah. Well, my thing is I mean, more specifically, why did they not continue making to the PS3 to the PS4?
Oh, so they stopped continuing this one because I think they shut down the servers for the PlayStation 2 version. I think in 2011 or 2012.
It's relatively recent.
No. Yes. And that was just because the player base has moved on.
Yeah, but why didn't they continue it to PS3? Is my questioning. Like, why did they not do like a GTA 5 type of thing where like if you own the game over here, you can bring your account right over to GTA Online? Like,
I know because the thing is on the PlayStation 3, Sony Online Entertainment made DC Universe Online.
Yeah. So they just were like, all right, we did EverQuest. Like, we're moving on.
Well, they still do EverQuest. They still support
but
the first
I mean,
one.
like,
There's EverQuest 2 on the PC as well. Still.
Yeah, but I mean, like, my thing was, they just stopped doing it because now what's interesting is because DC Universe Online is also on Xbox.
Yeah,
so
that's because SOE dissolved and they sold the rights to that game to a different company. That's why it's on. Okay. That's why it's on Xbox now.
It's just weird. What could have been? Like that could have continued on.
Yeah, no, it's just the player base wasn't there.
But I could have made another.
Everybody like moved on to because like a lot of my friends we moved on to Final Fantasy 11 and then we eventually moved on to WoW and now a lot of myself and us are back on Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah.
If this was up, I would be like, yeah, I'm going in. I'm reactivating my account. Check it out. I wanted to do that before the servers were down just to go on and just see it one more time. But I didn't. I didn't. I missed the day that they were doing it. But this game, just again, the scope. I've met so many people on this game. I don't talk to many of them still, because this was 15 years ago, you know. But yeah, this game literally changed the way I look at games. This is the reason why I have spent more time on MMOs in the past 15 years than any other genre of game. I did not ever I've heard of, I'd always heard of EverQuest and how it was this big deal on the computer. I never understood it until I was in the world, and I just was like,
my uncle played the PC version, and that he was like,
yeah,
it was quitting drugs. He had to go cold turkey on it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh man, how can a game be like that?
Yeah, if you unless you've played an MMO, it's one of those things.
Yeah, you never know what it's gonna.
It's like crack. You'll never know until
That's why they call it EverCrack. They call it EverCrack for that reason.
This will always be one of my most influential games, and whenever it comes to something that just blew the scale off of what a game can do, this one will always be that experience for me, because like that journey, that 9-hour journey, even though I ended up just dying, and I don't know how I died sooner, because I'm like a level 15 running through like these level 50 areas, and I'm aggroing enemies, but I'm somehow not getting, like they would have one-shot me. I think like some alligator in a river I didn't see popped out and got me.
Nice.
In the desert.
As one does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this game, just the balls that it had to do on console.
Yeah.
Like, I give a lot of props to Sony for doing that. Did you know? Oh, just a little fun little
Easter, one little fun Easter egg.
One little fun little Easter egg here for Ryan, or for the viewers if you don't know.
If you're watching, right here on YouTube.
Quenos, this is the good human starting town.
Okay,
Quenos. It's even named. This is all of this is even in the first EverQuest game. This is just base EverQuest. Is Sony EQ backwards?
Huh. It is.
Sony EverQuest backwards.
It's funny.
Yeah. Just a fun little tidbit.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, no, the scale of this game just melted my mind as a high schooler. Like, I could not believe that something like that was possible on my PlayStation 2.
And we still have loading screens to this day.
Well, you can get, loading screens in this game, but that's only if you fast travel.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so I'm going to make my second one a little short. I was debating on what I was going to do. BioShock Infinite has a lot. I've just started playing What Remains of Edith Finch, and I'm already getting my mind blown on that. But I think I just have to play that game through before I start talking about it. And it is coming to the channel, so make sure you stay tuned for that. By now, it probably has already made it to it. But anyway, yeah, I'm not going to do those ones. What I'm going to do is The Walking Dead.
There you go.
The Walking Dead.
I figured something would pop up when we were talking about.
Yeah,
stuff.
Telltale's The Walking Dead has this thing in a special place in my heart, just because it's one of these things where I never, ever, ever, ever knew that a game can be this, can take you for this story, to have so much emotional connection to characters like Telltale did with The Walking Dead. The writing was perfect. It was my game of the year of 2012 for a very important reason. What's crazy is like Microsoft gave the first and second episode away for free, I think, and it was before Games for Gold. I think it was before that, and they just gave it away or something like that, or maybe it was Games for Gold.
No,
I don't know.
It was like a trial.
Yeah,
I remember.
But they gave you 1 and 2, which was weird why they did that, and then I was like, well, I gotta buy the third one, and so I like asked my dad. I'm like, dude, yeah, Dad, can you please buy the game for me? I'll pay you back. And he's like, yeah, sure. How much is it? I'm like, oh, I think it's like $5. And so bought the episode 3, and then episode 4 and 5 were not out yet. I think, or maybe 4 was out, and then so I bought 3 and 4, and I had to wait for 5. 5 had not come out yet. And then finally 5 launched, and again, spoiler alert for The Walking Dead. If you haven't played it, I know we didn't finish it on the channel, but there's a spoiler alert for that. So if you want to continue, if we ever go back to that, this is going to be that situation. I don't know. You played The Walking Dead, right?
I played those 2 episodes.
Oh, okay. So this is going to be...
No, I don't see my... I know what happens.
Yeah.
I've already had I know the story.
So in the 4th episode of The Walking Dead of season 1, you play as the main character as Lee, and you're to keep track of Clementine. That's the whole entire game, is getting her to her parents. That is your goal of the game.
Pro babysitter.
Exactly. That is your goal. You take care of this girl. But Clem you grow this attraction to her of just trying to not that she's like 9, but like this, you want to take care of her, you want to get her to her family so that everything goes great, and that's your goal this whole entire game. And this so she gets kidnapped, I think, or something along the lines. I haven't played it in a while, but in that process, yes, she does. She does get kidnapped. In that process, Lee chases after the guy, or tries to lift up a Clem's hat. And while he does that, one of the walkers grabs him and bites his arm. And at that moment, you're like, "Oh my god!
Yeah,
what is happening? What is happening? Fix this now!" And then you're like, "I don't know how this is gonna work." And so, yeah, so Lee gets bit. Immediately they go, "Oh my god, we got to figure this out." So at the end of episode 4, or beginning of it, I can't remember, Lee saws his arm off. And you have to do it. And you're like, and I'm like, "Oh my god, why?" And so you saw his arm off, and Lee's not looking too good. Eventually you get into the episode, so plot, story, things happen. Episode 5 happens, and you need to get, so you save Clem. You now need to get from point A to point B. When you get from point B, you're going to meet up with the rest of the crew, and they're going to leave. But before you had met up with Clementine, you told them, no matter what happens, I need you to take care of Clem. Mm-hmm. And so they go, "Yeah, sure, no problem." And so they go off. "No, I'm sorry, I can't do anything. I'm in the middle of doing a lot of this." But so you tell them, take care of Clem. So you go and you save Clem, and now you need to get from point like this hotel to this alleyway so you can escape out of the city. But to do that, you need to go through the zombies. And so you put all these guts and stuff on top of yourself and Clem, and you're like walking, but as you're walking, you're like, oh no. You're getting all woozy. And so eventually you get into this area of where it's just, they close this, it rains. It rains, which the show copies this. It rains, and the stink goes away. So now the walkers can smell they can smell Lee now. They know he's human, and so they chase you and Clem under this like garage thing. And so you get into this like gas station area, close down the garage, this gate thing. And now they're like beating the crap out of the wall so they can open up and get in there. And you tell Clem, you're like, I need you to go. I need you to leave. I'm not gonna. And you're like, what? And Clem's like, no, I'm not gonna leave you. And Lee's like, no, I can't make it. I can't get out of here. And so you can make your last decision as Lee. Do you tell Clem to kill you? Or do you not even put her through that misery? And what it would do is, like, if she kills you, then it's great for you because you're done. You don't have to suffer anymore. But now Clem has to live with this decision in her life for the rest of her life. But if you let her just go, you will suffer and probably get ripped to bits because now there's walkers trying to get inside, but Clem will get away. And I told Clem to leave. And you watch Lee die, and I was like, no, we'll put this bowl of onions here. It was the first time I'd ever been like, I'd ever teared up in a game. It was the first time I'd ever done that, and I have experienced that in another game, but I can't remember what it was. But it was more of like, that was good, and like with The Walking Dead, I was like, I can't believe I've never dealt with a character that's gone out like that, of where he's chosen so much. Like, obviously, I got to choose my decision, but right. But I've never seen a character like that sacrifice himself so much when there was not that much to lose. Mm-hmm. Like, you didn't need to save Clem. Why did you even help her in the first place? You could have easily ran off, did your own thing. But like you've grown this attachment to all these characters. And throughout that game, there's people that die that you're like, oh my god, I can't believe he just died. And it's usually based on your decisions. But yeah, The Walking Dead is one of those games that episode 5 of the first season of Walking Dead will always be remembered to me because it was so emotional and it blew my mind that I'd never seen a main character just die like that. And yeah, I mean, there's other times where obviously it's not original for the main character not to die. I mean, there's times where he dies and he or she will die, and you're kind of like, oh, I didn't know what. I don't know, kind of move on from it. Yeah. But like The Walking Dead had so much emotional choices in there that I just, it's one of those things.
I know that feeling. I had that feeling with Seven and Eris. She got skewered.
All right. Well, I guess we're moving on to our third and final topic. Yeah, because this one's now what would have been Quinn's topic is now just a joined together topic. So I guess I'll read it off. Is the Switch dead? I don't know.
Dramatic pause.
I don't know because we were talking about this and it was like, is the Switch dead? Is it like, are we not playing the games? And I understand there are some great games out there.
Yeah.
But why have I not played my Switch since I bought it? I literally bought it. Mario Kart is the most played game on there. Now, I did buy Mario Odyssey, and the only reason why I haven't played it is because I want to play it as a Let's Play. But
this is Nintendo.
Yeah.
You deal with Nintendo.
Yeah, I have to. It'd get copyright strikes.
Yeah. Well, like we were talking about what to do for the third topic, and people have been throwing out all of these Switch numbers and things like that. Like I wrote it down. Like as of December 12th, the Switch has sold 10 million units, which is ridiculous. It's only been out for like 9 months, whereas in the Wii U only sold 13.5 million units in its lifetime. Mm-hmm. Like the Switch is gonna probably beat the lifetime sales of the Wii U in the first year. It's looking like it. Probably. Like the console itself is doing well. I don't think the console itself is dead at all.
It's just the title of the episode.
I don't think it's dead at all, but I raised this question. I asked Ryan this before we started. Are you still playing your Switch?
Yeah, no. I mean, I pick it up and I'm like I try to pick it up to play it while I'm doing other things, like maybe trying to catch up on like a Netflix series, but then I'm like, oh, I want to play the Netflix series. So I click it off and I just put it away.
Yeah.
And Mario Kart 8 is like the only game I play. I do have other games. Like I have The Binding of Isaac. I have Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
You have that?
Yeah, I didn't buy it. I got it for my not my birthday, my my Christmas present.
Oh, that's cool.
And then
I want to play that one.
I bought Mario Odyssey. It is very detailed. Like Xenoblade, I was like, there's voice acting in this game, and they're British, or they're like British, Irish, all sorts of things. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like, and then I also made the realization, like, I haven't played my Switch again since we played Mario Kart together. Mm-hmm. I've rarely touched it. I think I spent like 4 or so hours, tinkering around, checking out Stardew Valley. But like, even my girlfriend, who we bought the Switch for, it's her system. Ever since we got her PC, she doesn't touch it anymore either.
Yeah, I think it's this, and we talked about this before, and I'll let you kind of go on it because you did bring this up a lot. It's all these ports that it's like, oh, like Super Meat Boy just came onto the Switch, mm-hmm. and it's doing tremendously well.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's Super Meat Boy. Yeah. Why not? But
like
I mean,
Skyrim.
Yeah,
and
like
it's Doom.
I've already played that game. Mm-hmm. I don't want to play third-party games I've already played already.
Yeah. Well, the thing is I don't
like
have,
Payday 2 is coming.
Yeah,
and
like
all that.
I personally don't have any issues with there being ports to the system. It's just they're not for me. I know why they're doing it. And that's just because, companies are just wanting to get their games on the system because it's selling so well. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's good because it's going to offer more games on this handheld, but I think it's just because, companies. You got to remember, before the Switch launched, companies weren't on board with it.
Yeah, I mean, well, we've yet to see an EA game.
FIFA, but that's their test game.
That's true.
That's their test game.
And it shat a brick. So
I don't think FIFA's doing well on the Switch.
No, it got horrible ratings. They said this is the worst FIFA game in decades. Like this is.
But because I do believe more EA games are going to come to the Switch just because it's selling so many units.
Yeah.
I am excited for the Bayonetta.
Yeah, but it's another redo.
No,
Bayonetta 1 and 2. Okay, 3. Yeah, but that's not coming soon.
But the thing is, though, I didn't have a Wii. I didn't have a Wii U.
Yeah.
How many people have? How many people do you
Bayonetta
know?
Bayonetta 1 was.
No, Bayonetta 1, yeah, but how many people do you know have played Bayonetta 2?
True. But that's the thing. It's like same with Mario Kart. That game succeeded because
it's Mario Kart.
Well, that and no one had a Wii U. They didn't play Mario Kart. But if you look at all these games, I'm really excited for Kirby. That comes out in March.
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo game.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for
Mario Tennis. I think Mario Tennis.
Mario Tennis.
It's Mario Tennis.
Yeah.
It's just
I'm more of a Mario Golf guy, but that's just me.
I call it a dumb fun. It's just a dumb fun game.
Yeah, I prefer Mario Golf, but
that's fine.
Yeah. But
that's fair.
they what else is there? Shinigami Tensei.
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
But where is the third-party games that are launching at the same time? Why does Wolfenstein not come out until like end of February?
Because they probably have to optimize it.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure that's why.
Mm-hmm.
But when your game doesn't launch, it gets people worried. And that's exactly what happened with WWE. With WWE 2K18 took a giant dump in its pants and then went on console on Xbox and PlayStation. It's one of the poorly rated WWE games. And then all of a sudden we don't hear anything about the game, and then all of a sudden the Twitter of WWE 2K tweeted out launching on the Nintendo Switch in 2 days. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, hold on. We've been waiting for this game for so long to come to the Switch because it was the first time it's coming to handheld in over like 10 years. Last time was on PSP. I want the stupid thing, and then all of a sudden it's broken. It is buggy to hell, and it like the frame rate's trash. It's slow motion in some part. What is Nintendo doing that is so much different? Is it the cartridge? Is that what's causing this chaos of this shit storm that they just can't do?
No, I think the issue is again, pre-launch companies weren't really on. Third-party developers weren't the big ones weren't really on board with the Switch. So I think now that they're seeing the success, I think they're kind of rushing to get games to the Switch. I think the reason why the Wolfenstein is going to take so long is because they're actually taking the time to optimize it for the Switch. I don't think FIFA or 2K was optimized for the Switch. I think they were probably just direct ports.
Yeah, probably.
That's probably why.
And also that is like, some of the games are half the games they are. Like FIFA is literally like a quarter of the game of what FIFA on console is. There's no story mode. There's none of this, and this. And it's just quick play and season.
I know that has to do with the amount of storage to put on the cartridge.
Yeah.
Without doing a download like NBA 2K does. 2K18, you have to do the download to get the other half of the game. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm assuming with that.
I don't mind that because it is micro cards. By the way, for those that have a Switch, do not buy the ones that say Switch micro SD. Do not do that. They're an extra like $40 you're gonna spend.
Just because
go and buy some cheap piece of garbage micro SD card. It works the same. I have a 64 gigabyte thing in there, and I spent like $40 on it, and it's like. Or maybe even less. You buy a 64 gigabyte one for the... Yeah, I know. That's what he was doing. I was getting nervous. But if you buy like a 64 gigabyte Switch, like modded, it doesn't even do anything. You just plug it in and it works. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't download anything.
It just has Link on the box. You're paying an extra $20 to $30 just because.
Yeah,
Link is
I
on
went
the
to Best Buy today for a 64 gigabyte one, almost $90 for 64 gigabyte micro SD card. What are we back in 2010?
Mm-hmm.
Like that is insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was ridiculous of how, because I wanted to know. I made sure I went over the way I bought it. I went to Target, went over in the because I saw the memory card because I needed to get it to play 2K or NBA 2K, and I returned that piece of garbage, by the way. And I was like, all right, well, I need a memory card. I look at it, I'm like, are you kidding me? $60 for this memory card? I'm gonna have to spend $120 for to play this stupid game. So I was like, no. I walked over to the little computer section where all these rinky-dink laptops and like tablets were. Saw the 64 gigabyte micro SD card.
It's literally the same thing.
And I took it, shoved it in. I didn't have to download anything other than the game. It didn't do anything. What do you need me for?
He just wants
to
hang
fine.
out with you.
All right.
No, I've looked at the boxes. They're the same.
Oh yeah, and same company. SanDisk is making it. Yeah. I don't know why SanDisk
exactly
just thinks that. Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's, I don't know. It just has link on the art on the box on the packaging.
I have no idea where he's going. I have no idea where he's
not going to mess things. Okay, all right.
Okay, that's scary. That was scary for a second.
Can
he not get?
I don't know what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
He's just being.
For those that are listening to the audio version of this,
there's a cat climbing on us.
But anyway, yeah. I think it's just. The main thing about this topic was just what is going on with the Nintendo Switch. I know they're making some great decisions on a lot of this stuff, like like LA Noire. Sure, it doesn't look as bright and beautiful as the HD 4K resolution version that the Xbox One and the X and the PS4 Pro can offer, but it works, and it works perfectly. The touchscreen that you can play that game halfway. You can do half of the stuff by just touching the screen.
That's cool.
Yeah, that to me looks like the Rockstar guys took the time, made some love changes to it that makes that console like a reason to buy that console or that game for that console. And like I do like the prettier picture, so but it's cool to have that option of, hey, if you're gonna get this for the Switch, here's some cool stuff that you're not gonna be able to do on any other console. Right. But yeah, it's I don't know. I think this is definitely a good year for the Nintendo Switch though, because I think there's some great games that are coming out, and I'm sure there are games that we have no idea what's coming.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure we're going to be picking up Bayonetta 1 and 2. I'm assuming it's going to be on one cartridge.
Oh yeah, it's a download too. It's a pack.
Oh, it's a pack. Okay.
Yeah, I think if you buy this, I think what they might do, because what they did with Resident Evil is the download. You can download them separately, but you can buy a cartridge that has both of them on there. That's why when you go to like a store, it's $40 when it's on for $20.
But yeah, I think it's cool. Dark Souls is coming. The Dark Souls remaster.
It's gonna be interesting.
So I think that's cool. Dark Souls on the go. That's cool. I'll take it.
Yeah, I think it's just I don't know how. I mean, how graphic heavy is Dark Souls?
Not very.
Okay,
it might port well. But it is a remaster.
Yeah, but what does that mean? Like Doom cannot hold itself on.
They're doing a remaster. It's coming out. They're re-releasing the first one on. On the they're
on 1 and 4. Yeah, I get that, but
and PC.
But like when it comes down to those games that Doom gets brought over, and you're like, great, Doom's coming, and it's just these muddy textures.
I don't know. When you're moving, it doesn't look that bad.
Yeah, and
I
stand
hear
still
that. And you're looking at it,
stuff,
and you're trying, and you're like,
it's kind of like if you just don't pay attention to the game,
if you just go and play the game, I don't think it's an issue. But if your character's not moving, you'll see the pixels in his gun and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. To me, that's not the biggest issue.
Yeah.
For me personally. What?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. But yeah, it's.
Yeah, again, and I think the reason why, like I said, there's being a lot of ports right now is because a lot of the third-party developers weren't planning really anything for it at the beginning, and because they're seeing the success, they're just like, we just gotta shove stuff onto this thing so people will buy our stuff again.
Yeah, and I think it's crazy how the Nindies are the ones that are doing the most success. Like the Nintendo indie exclusives or the just ported over because to me the Nintendo Switch dominates in indie games right now. There's a lot of indie games that are great
to say.
Yeah. But it's just because there's no graphic heaviness that an indie game can bring.
Right.
Even if it has so much money, there's never this heavy looking graphic intense indie developed game. I mean, League of Legends it didn't get there in a night. Like, they've progressed that game to look as beautiful and 400 frames per second as it can get. Same with Smite. Smite was made by High Res. High Res literally has high res in their name, so they have to incorporate that, but they didn't do that in a night either. They've worked on other games, made Tribes, made all these other games, and then eventually got to Smite, and now they have 3D rendered, high graphic, heavy game. But yeah, I think the indie games are probably the best of
right
the
now,
Switch.
Right now, yeah. If you want something that you can only get on Switch, I think
or Nintendo exclusive,
right? Other than Nintendo exclusives, pretty much you're looking at indie games and ports.
Yeah, but even then, the ports are all. Bleh.
Yeah, it all. It all
not
depends
pretty.
It all depends on if the developer takes time to optimize it.
Yeah.
So.
Is there any last things you want to say about the Switch, or you think you've beaten it down?
I mean, I don't know what else to say. Like I said, the whole point of this topic was I asked Ryan, "Are you still playing your Switch?" And he said no, and I said, "I'm not either. Why is that?"
Yeah.
You know.
I hope there's something that comes by. Again, I have not played Mario, so that's obviously something that I'm gonna play. But I hope something comes by that wows everyone, and then I'll just snag it. Because I mean, I didn't even finish Zelda, and I didn't have any intent to finish that.
I only
game.
put like 20 something hours into that game,
but
until I was like, "Yep, I've had enough."
Yeah, but it's just because Zelda's not my cup of tea. I know a lot of people that loved it. Obviously, got Game of the Year last year. I mean, we didn't give Game of the Year to that, but yeah, I mean, it's
out of the games that were nominated for Game of the Year, I think I would have gave it to Horizon.
Oh, for the ones that
Yeah,
for the video game awards, not our thing. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
But yeah, that's just my opinion.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is gonna be it. Thank you all so much for watching. If you want to watch more of this stuff, make sure you subscribe to us right here on YouTube. All you got to do is click the little subscribe button at the end card. There will be a subscription button. You click on that, and links to one that says a link to the last episode, and one that takes you to some random video, the newest one that we ever
roll
posted.
the dice.
Yep. We'll see how that turns out. Plus, at this point, we are an audio podcast now. By now, we should be. I mean, this would be like 4 weeks into advance. So we have an audio podcast. If you want to download this, or if you've already downloaded this, it is over there on Podbean. If you're on Android, you can download it on Podbean. Eventually coming soon to iTunes. When we get that, we'll tweet that out of that we are officially live on iTunes. But for now, you can download our podcast over there on Podbean. It's going to have a good time. Hope that all turns out great, because otherwise we're going to have to cut this whole part out. But anyway, David, any last words to the special audience of episode 13 and the beginning of a 2018 year?
Sure. I mean, I know we talked about something different on this, so tell me what your favorite board game is.
Yeah.
I can talk about board games for hours,
yes.
Obviously. So.
And also, if you have topics that you want to throw our way, feel free to do so. We don't have a third person anymore, so we'll be looking for maybe a suggestion. We'll come up with topics, but it'd be cool to have like maybe a viewer topic. We'll see how that works out. Plus, there are many surprises coming this year for by now we're 2. Primal Target is 2, but in our 3rd year, we are going to be doing some special stuff here on Bitcade. and maybe some guests might stop by. Maybe. All right, that's gonna be it. Good night, everybody.